Hello and a very warm welcome. It's a pleasure to share with you this travelogue of our wanderings in Sangla Valley, a journey we made some years ago with a 5-year-old daughter. It all began at the small hamlet of Reckong Peo, located a few kilometers off the old Indo-Tibet border road, now NH5. Though our lodgings at Peo were modest, it was more than compensated for by the panoramic views it offered. After an overnight stay at Peo, we moved to Kalpa, some 8 kilometers away. Thankfully, we could locate a farmhouse, some half an hour walk from Kalpa village, that was willing to take us in. Surrounded by apple orchards and a silence broken occasionally by birdsong, we were content to simply laze in the sun and enjoy the views. Scattered hamlets dotted the valley below us, while in the distance, snow-clad peaks shimmered in the crystal clear air. There were ample opportunities for short walks, perfect for helping our daughter get used to walking on trails. At just 5 years old, she was already beginning to discover the joys of the outdoors. With increasing confidence in a budding trekker, we soon ventured on longer trails, climbing gently towards the tree line. As we moved to higher ground, sweeping views of the Kinnour Kailash range opened up, with Kinnour Kailash Peak, Jorkanden and Raldang clearly visible. Emerging from the tree line, we stumbled upon a few scattered homes, nestled among the terrace fields. Surrounded by towering mountain ranges and cut off from modern amenities, these remote hamlets are a humbling reminder of human tenacity. As we approached the settlement, we noticed a local herder who was busy bathing his flock of sheep in the icy cold waters of a stream in an attempt to rid them of their fleas. While from a nearby house, a woman accosted us and offered an apple to our daughter. This spontaneous act of generosity has remained etched in our memories. By the time we returned to the farmhouse, twilight was creeping in over the valley, while the rosy glow of the setting sun lit up the western skyline. Soon it was time to move on. From Kalpa we travelled to Rakcham and then on to Sangla, the biggest village in the valley, surrounded by fields and pastures and spread across a wide swath of the valley. With houses built from local timber with steeply sloping roofs that curve gently near the base, so typical of the Kinnauri style. Life in these villages revolves around traditional means of livelihood and deeply rooted religious customs. Looking for greater solitude, we decided to leave the village for a more secluded spot. A small clearing near the Baspa river had caught our eyes. After crossing the river and a short uphill walk, we reached a glade where we set up our camp. Delighted with her newfound freedom, our daughter busied herself in helping the chores around the camp. With a kitchen set up in the hollow of a tree, a short distance from the tent, we soon settled in, adjusting to the simple comforts of camp life, while a few patches of irises and wildflowers helped brighten up our surroundings. After a couple of days of solitude, the urge to move on became strong again. Crossing the river once more, we shifted our camp to a small meadow just off the main road and a short distance from Sangla village. It was an idyllic campsite, a beautiful green meadow tucked behind a ring of boulders and shrubs, with views of snowy peaks, sheer rock walls and snow-choked gullies rising towards the summit. Sheltered from the road, we thought we were protected from prying eyes, until visitors began to appear, curious to know about us and what we were doing here. Their brazen behavior left us shaken. The next morning, a local herder brought his goats to graze near our campsite, adding to our discomfort. Feeling exposed and insecure, we packed up and left for Chitkul. Chitkul is the last village in Baspa Valley, sparsely populated, with houses made from rough-hewn timber and storage space for firewood and fodder under the roofs. so essential to survive the long winter months when the village is snowbound. As the gentle warmth of the morning sun engulfs the valley, the village awakens from its slumber. With the tinkling of cowbells, the villagers head out, herding their cattle to the pastures. After a day's work, the families gather on open balconies, soaking in the last warmth of the sun before it disappears behind the snowy ridges, and the cold of the night engulfs the valley once more. One of the notable landmarks is the Qilla or the Chitkul fort, a 3-storied stone and wood tower with an overhanging enclosed balcony crowned with a distinctive Kinnour-style roof. Equally revered is the Mati Devi temple, dedicated to the local deity, goddess Mati, who is believed to have journeyed from Vrindavan to Tibet to finally settle down in Chitkul, bringing prosperity to the valley. The temple has since been renovated and redone, giving it a more neo look. The valley runs east-west, flanked by high ridges on the north and the south. A well-laid-out path follows the river to the east, leading to the army camp a few kilometers away. One bright morning, we decided to follow a trail leading to a high point on the ridgeline above the village. Though well-defined, the trail was rather narrow, with an exposure on one side, so we decided to carry her in the papoose. As the trail headed its way up the hillside, it soon disappeared in the rubble of a landslide, forcing us to move carefully, ever mindful of any mishap. Frequent halts are an integral part of trekking with a 5-year-old, and they were not just welcomed by us, but it was an essential snack and rest break for a young trekker. As the trail climbed higher, Chitkul lay below us, nestled among its fields, while around us the views of the valley opened up. Distant peaks that once towered above us now met our gaze at eye level, revealing new layers of beauty and grandeur. From Chitkul, an 8 to 10 day high altitude trek leads to Harshal in the Gangotri Valley, via the 17,654 feet high Lamkhaga Pass. With a few days still in hand, we moved to Rakcham, a small village midway between Chitkul and Sangla. Rakcham offered dramatic views of steep rocky towers, scarred by cracks and ledges. As the last rays of the setting sun lit up the rocky towers, the harsh grey walls were magically transformed to molten gold. Villagers in the valley, though often lacking in hard cash, own extensive ancestral lands, along with cattle and large flocks of goats and sheep, often numbering in hundreds. When we visited, polyandry was commonly practiced, but perhaps social values have changed now. We spent a couple of days wandering through the village and the surrounding countryside. One especially blissful afternoon was spent by a bubbling brook, mesmerized by the soft gurgle as they gently flowed over the pebbles. Today, Sangla Valley is undergoing a quiet transformation, evolving from a remote valley to a tourist destination. Hotels, shops, adventure tour operators have made their appearance, tapping into the growing stream of tourists. With this new influx, the lives of the native inhabitants has been both enriched and altered. The slow rhythm of village life has shifted, gradually changing the valley forever as it adapts to the changing times. Our final days were spent in Sarhan, a small town, famous for its sacred Bhimkali Devi temple complex. While nearby, a modest aviary housed a variety of pheasants and parakeets. And a short distance away, a large section of the hillside was fenced and reserved for the shy burrals. A short walk took us beyond the village limits, where we spent our last evening, as Sarhan and his temple complex lay bathed in the golden light, and the distant Himalayan summits glowed in the warm hues of the sunset. A perfect farewell to a journey filled with timeless memories. Looking back, it's not the mountains that left the impression. It was watching our daughter take her first real steps in the outdoors, giving us a glimpse of how quietly and deeply nature can shape a young soul. Thank you for joining us. And if you enjoyed this travelogue, we invite you to check out a first trek with our daughter, or perhaps a Ladakh travelogue might interest you. And please do leave a comment and share this video.